Welcome back, ECHL fans, to another episode of the ECHL Insider. I am your host, Garrett Hunter, bringing you an update on round 2 of the 2026 Kelly Cup playoffs. What electrifying games we've had so far in this series, these 4 series, and in this round. I can't wait to talk about them with you, so let's dive right in with the North Division Finals, the Maine Mariners and the Wheeling Nailers. Let's talk about games 1 and 2, both claimed by the Wheeling Nailers at home. Wheeling feeling pretty good about themselves, right? You win game 1, you win game 2 at home. Now you travel to Maine, and that's where things changed drastically in this series. Maine comes out with a tight win in game 3. Game 4, tied at 1 apiece, went to double overtime, where it was the Mariners tying the series with a 2-1 double overtime win. You will see that goal at the end of this episode. Just a critical swing in this series, for the Mariners, and they carry that momentum into the next night, into Game 5, blow out the Nailers in Game 5, and now claim a 3-2 series lead over the Nailers, going back to Wheeling for Game 6. So what can we expect in Game 6? Well, first of all the momentum is on the side of the Maine Mariners. Wheeling has to seriously regroup, right, for Game 6. Yes, you won the first 2 at home, but it can really take a toll on a team to go from 2 games to none to down 3-2. So it's going to be a big regroup that's going to be needed for the Nailers if they want to win Game 6 and force a Game 7 on home ice on Monday night. But it's going to take a big effort in Game 6 Saturday for the Nailers to keep their season alive. It's going to be a big game for them, definitely. But just look at Maine. Look at the perseverance. They did not quit, even when it looked hard, right? They had a lot of chances to lose Game 4 and go down in this series 3-1, but they didn't. They held on and found a way to get one past Taylor Gauthier there in the double overtime Game 4. So I think that was a series-defining moment. We'll see what happens in Game 6 on Saturday night. Now on to the South Division Finals, where it is all Everblades so far with 3-0, 6-2, and 7-3 wins over the South Carolina Stingrays. They lead the series 3-0, looking to sweep the Stingrays on Friday night. And really a key to this series is South Carolina has not had the goaltending and not had the defense to keep up with the Everblades at all. I mean, you allow 13 goals combined in games 2 and 3. That's not going to cut it. So how is South Carolina going to defend in Game 4? That's going to be a big thing to watch. Can they come back and play some defense, stop the puck from going in their own net against Florida in Game 4? Because Florida has had a lot of success offensively against them. Something that we really didn't expect to see, right? Because look at the way South Carolina played defensively against Atlanta in round 1. I was expecting more of that defensive structure in round 2, but Florida has just broken them apart through the first 3 games of this series. So we'll see if South Carolina is able to hang on and extend the series to at least a Game 5, but it's going to be a very hard task. Everblades 7-0 in the playoffs. They swept the Ghost Pirates, and now they have a chance to sweep the Stingrays in a Game 4. So big game there. Obviously, Friday night, we'll see if the Everblades are able to do it to get 2 consecutive sweeps and move on to the Eastern Conference Finals. But one last question you got to ask yourselves if you're the Stingrays. Who is your starting goalie for Game 4? Seth Isley or Garen Bjorklund have not had a lot of success against the Everblades in this series so far. So who do you trust? You got to put the guy you have the most trust in out there, obviously, for an elimination game in Game 4. So is it going to be Bjorklund or is it going to be Isley? We'll see on Friday night. Well, moving on now to the Western Conference. The Central Division Finals have been very entertaining, but the Fort Wayne Comets lead the Toledo Walleye 3-0 in their series. Just really impressive, right, from this Fort Wayne group. They look determined, high energy, and just a step ahead, honestly, of the Walleye in this series, right? They get a 4-1 win in game 1 on home ice. I think that really kind of kick-started them, right? They get a big win like that. They're like, all right, here we go, right? And then you move into game 2. Sam Janssen with a shutout performance in Toledo for the Comets between the pipes. Just very impressive. 3-0 win in game 2 for the Comets. You don't want to take anything away from that, though. Like a away shutout is hard to do in the playoffs, but to go into a hostile environment like Toledo and put a goose egg up is pretty impressive from Sam Janssen. What a great shutout that was from him. Really shocked the Toledo fans, I think. And then game 3, right? Back and forth. Toledo has the 2-1 lead. Fort Wayne goes and ties it up. Then it's the Comets taking the lead in the third period. They put it away with an empty netter, and that's it, right? So now you're down 3-0. Toledo can look back and say, hey, game 3 was closer. Definitely our best game of the series, arguably. But the series is 3-0 going back to Toledo for game 4. So how do the Walleye kind of regroup? It's very hard to win 4 games straight in any series, but to reverse sweep a team when you're down 3-0 is very rare to see. So we'll see if the Walleye are able to string together some momentum and extend the series to a game 5, but definitely a hard hole to climb out of if you're the Toledo Walleye. And finally, the Mountain Division Finals. 3 of the closest games of round 2 have been Allen and Kansas City. So where do we stand in this series? Well, it's 3-0 Kansas City right now, but that doesn't really show you the whole story of this series. Let me talk you through what's happened, right? Game 1, a 2-1 close game that Kansas City wins, right? At home. Then you go to game 2 Sunday, a 1-0 win for the Mavericks on home ice. This goal was reviewed for goaltender interference. They reviewed that Jackson Parsons, the Allen goaltender, was not interfered with. It was a good goal. Shortly after that, Allen believes that they score, and that goal is waved off. Dylan Wells comes back to the goal line with an incredible save. And if you ask me, it looks like that puck probably crosses the goal line, but because of Dylan Wells getting his glove across the goal line, you cannot see the puck cross the goal line. So this is a controversial thing for the Americans fans, but there's no video evidence that the puck crosses the goal line as it was in the goaltender's glove. So, credit to Dylan Wells for getting over there and not showing the puck crossing the goal line, I guess, Very controversial call. That was called no goal, and the Mavericks win game 2, 1-0. So, a bad bounce for the Americans. Now, fast forward to game 3. It's the Allen Americans who held multiple leads in this game and gave them up to the Mavericks. I think timely goals is a big deal. The only goal in game 2 was scored in the third period by Kansas City. They won a really close one in game 1. And then what do they do in game 3? More timely goals. So I think that is just a backbreaker for the Americans. You have multiple 1-goal leads, and you cannot hold on to any of them. You end up losing the game 7-4. Empty net in there as well. But, you got a 1-goal lead in a playoff game, in a series that you're down 2-0, you got to hold on to the lead, right? You got to look to extend it. They couldn't. Mavericks tied up the game several times, end up taking a lead. So, and it's not on Jackson Parsons, all those goals. There was a lot of defensive breakdowns from the Americans in game 3. I think they will play the tape and see that, but we'll see what happens going forward in game 4 as the Americans will look to avoid elimination on home ice. Well, that will do it for our round 2 update. Make sure to stay tuned next week as we will bring you our round 3 preview of the conference finals. But before the episode is over, we got a dandy for you. The Mariners' double overtime goal against the Wheeling Nailers in game 4. So make sure to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go down below, like the video, and subscribe. And we will see you next week for a preview of the conference finals.
Curcia, Andrea breaks it up, sends it up ahead. Cronin gathers out of the box, coming with Hudson. Cronin, Hudson, score! The North Division Finals are all tied up. Jacob Hudson wins it in double overtime.